Good evening and welcome to LUTV's coverage as Leeds United's under-21s make their way onto the field at the Blue Flames ground. It's the home of Northumberland FA. It is an arena or pitch that Leeds United are very familiar with over the last few years in recent competitions. So the two teams are just exchanging pleasantries right at the bottom of the table together. Leeds can go above Newcastle tonight with a victory after that fine performance last time out. That was only on Monday, so within 4 days, Leeds United back in action. Newcastle go with Harris, Jahar, Charlton, MacArthur, Thompson, Miley, Turner, Cook, Stanton, Croston, Harrison. It is then Diallo. Ben Dawson's bench is Heffernan, Brown, Hackett, Dibon and Brayson. As for Scott Gardner's Leeds United under-21s, it's Danny van der Heuvel, Alfie Cresswell's at right back, then Connor Ferguson, Kian Coleman, Chris Moore, Diogo Montero, Joe Richards, Reece Chadwick, Luca Thomas, Sam Chambers and Charlie Allen. So Allen switching flanks after the game on Monday with Thomas still spearheading the attack. The bench for Scott Gardner is Harry Christie, Connor Douglas, great to see him back from injury, Joe Snowden, Ruben Lapata-White, who scored against Derby, and James Debayo. Delighted to be joined by Ben Parker sat alongside me this evening. It is a beautiful night in the northeast. No sign of any rain. I'm sure we'll get a monsoon later, but pitch looks in great condition. We've had some great battles here, Ben. We had back in the early days when we started covering Leeds' 21s, we had that game where we threw away a 3-0 lead. We've had some really strong tussles against the great academy that we've seen bring some players through to the first team even this season. And the fact we can go above them is the ideal carrot in front of us. Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening to you, Tom, and good evening to everyone listening in. And yeah, where's the rain? We've just been used to those conditions, but great night for football, as you say. Trying to implement the style playing out as we know, we're all aware of what we're trying to implement under Scott Gardner. But for the players coming in, getting another opportunity, you think Sam Chambers again playing that number 10 on his back there, just behind Luca Thomas. The forward players trying to get those pocket of spaces, create the chances. And as you rightly said, the games usually against Newcastle have provided plenty of entertainment. So more of the same tonight, more to go in favour of the pink shirts, shall we say. But again, the boys have been really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, they have better confidence about after a 3-0 success, a rare clean sheet at this level, of course, playing with such a young group this year, and will no doubt reap the rewards in years to come. In this group can play 21s football, and I guess that is the only age group they can play in, such as the ages of some of these players can still qualify for the 18s, and we have seen them play in the Youth Cup as well. And an early loose touch going forward from Leeds, a long boot downfield goes straight into the path of the Newcastle goalkeeper, fired into the same sort of area. And we go into the old added debate when we look at low sun in football. No cap for Danny van der Heuvel. We're going early, Ben, with it. Not even a minute in. What's he thinking?
You're a cap guy, aren't you? That's what I think, and that's what I know. 100% you'd have gone with the cap, but it was interesting, Newcastle just to turn it around. Obviously they're thinking, get the balls under van der Heuvel, but hopefully it's not going to come to that.
Yeah, van der Heuvel with pass out to Allen. Referee gives an early free kick to the Leeds midfielder.
No. Well, I've not heard anything about anyone being over there.
Back to Chris Moore, who had a few minutes on Monday as well. Didn't get the chance to start the game. Came off the bench, as did Coleman, Montero and Ferguson. Newcastle are in behind here with Diallo. Not the best contact, actually. Because of the lack of contact and power, it actually helped Kyle Crossley out. But thankfully for Leeds, they were well aware of that. But an early warning sign for what Diallo will do, try to get in behind. And he's away again with Richard stalking him. Newcastle trying to get some form of flow about the game. And on Monday, we had the strong winds that caused carnage for Derby's defence in the first half. Tonight looks a lot more pleasant. Very important for Leeds to try and take their chances. Thomas has got an opportunity to go for goal, and the keeper at the last second panicked at that. It's gone behind for a goal kick. Now, the contact wasn't that pure from Luca Thomas, maybe a bit more loft than he wanted. But where he was, Ben, an error in possession. You've got to go for that, haven't you?
Oh, what an effort. So unlucky. Keeper scrambling back, loose pass. Luca Thomas pounces on it. You just saw him check just to his right to see where the goalkeeper was. And yeah, you're right in terms of the connection. The ball seemed to stay in the air for quite a while, didn't it? And from the keeper's perspective, so fortunate that the ball wasn't on target.
Yeah, I do wonder if actually that confused the goalkeeper even more because he was having to watch it all the way. But it's a good effort, really is, for his first touch in an attacking area. A free kick for Leeds now. So try and put this defence under pressure. That's a strong challenge on Chadwick. They both went for the ball. In fairness, Chadwick didn't actually complain. Delivery is from the Leeds number 8. Headed the wrong way by Newcastle, but a simple enough catch for the goalkeeper, who would, I think, ideally like that situation to have happened, get a touch on the ball after that slight error and miscue from Thomas's long-range effort. But not an awful lot to split them, Ben. 4 minutes gone. We've had Newcastle getting in behind with Diallo. Thomas has an effort. And a couple of free kicks to slow things down. So even Stevens.
Yeah, it has. Even start, but I guess let's say from Scott Garner's lads out there, been reasonably pleased with how it started. Bit of a dangerous situation here.
Cresswell went to slide in to get the ball. They've worked it well here, the Magpies. Shot blocked by Chris Moore. Chadwick to bring it clear. He was trying to poke it forward, but intercepted. Diallo's picked up the pieces. Newcastle trying to overload the touchline. Have several bodies up there, and they do have the number 3, Dylan Charlton. That was Jamie Miley. Back into the centre halves. And this time Thompson now with MacArthur. Newcastle have 2 waiting in the area. Doesn't get there though, thanks to Ferguson's good work. They both appeal for the corner. Ferguson's appeal is a lot more passionate than perhaps would be expected if he knew it wasn't a corner ball. So that reaction suggests he was very confident, Ben, that there was a double deflection. But like we mentioned earlier about the goalkeepers not having the best vision with the sun. I think the linesman's just dip-dip-dude. But Newcastle get the call. We have the number 10, Alfie Harrison, stood over it. Getting forward the last few times, the number 10. He takes it short. Allen has gone across, but the ball immediately swung in, met by Coleman. Chambers can't get to it, but Ferguson can. And for a first set piece, very well dealt with by Leeds. Yeah, dealt reasonably well. Good to see Conor Ferguson back out there. Another one who's had his injuries this season, but back before end of the campaign, get some games under his belt. Yeah, ball forward for Diallo. He's unlucky the other day. Ferguson stepped off the bench in the at half-time in the game against Derby, only to walk off 4 or 5 minutes later with a knock. But I think Leeds were looking after him because of that injury history he's had, and just making sure he's good for today, which, thankfully, the fact he started suggests he's raring to go. And Heuvel wide into Ferguson, met it on the run, but always at full stretch there, the Leeds fullback. Pressure from Newcastle. Harrison, the one that's closest to Moore. Moore again assessing the field. Nobody in Newcastle colours that bothered about the press. Let's see if that changes as Leeds make a bit more progress. Chadwick has dropped in. All very calm, this from Leeds. Newcastle's coaching team trying to get Crossley to move it a bit further forward, and Charlton gets there first. So Newcastle not really flustered at any point there. You surprised by the tactics, Ben?
Yeah, especially being the home side, you expect on the front foot, do a high press, but as we've seen there, going to a bit of a mid-block, being compact, just trying to draw a mistake out from ourselves, a loose pass, and then they've got the pace in the wide areas of Newcastle. That's their strength. That's what they're trying to exploit. But it's just important in these areas. You don't take the chances. Just play the safe ball.
Yes, Chadwick across to Cresswell. Now with Moore. Montero's pass was asking a lot of Cresswell, and in doing so, he's actually played it out. So in theory, you could actually say Newcastle's tactics have worked. They're just waiting for Leeds to make a mistake, which they have on the last couple of occasions in possession. As I said earlier, Newcastle are just a couple of points ahead of Leeds, so a win for the Whites would ensure they can't climb above and start to make some progress in the table. And they've still got games in hand above those in front of them as well. So lots to play for this group. Coleman crossfield to Cresswell. Inside ball is on to Chambers. He spots it and into the box he goes. Chambers had a really narrow sight at goal. He went for it anyway. The referee suggests it's a corner. And the Newcastle players now have an issue with the set-piece decision, but the patient build-up play worked to a T there, Ben.
Yeah, it did, and it was good build-up play as well. Just that overlapping full-back in Cresswell, good pass from Kean Coleman, and for a split second it did open up for Chambers. Did well to get a corner in the end.
Thomas being told to stop and wait for the referee, who has an issue with a few players pushing and shoving in the box. Good ball in from Thomas. Asked questions like Newcastle defence. There's a Magpies player down, I think, appealing for a free kick. Not given. Thomas has to stay on side. That's a crafty touchback. Here's Richards. Cut back is on, but Newcastle get a leg to the ball. Chadwick. Now Ferguson. In fact, it's Allen, should I say. Allen gets it across. Cresswell charging. That's a good challenge from him. And Leeds just recycling the ball as many times as they could. It wasn't all-out pressure, Ben, but it was constant enough that Newcastle had to be switched on. And in fairness to them, they were.
It was good build-up play, yeah. Again, just patience, keeping the ball. With Richards on the right-hand side, opened up in the box, but it was so crowded in that penalty area, so many bodies. Just couldn't quite pick a spare shirt out, but yeah, it's a good opening 11 minutes to the game as this.
More to Montero. Looped to Cresswell, perfectly weighted. As is that pass to Richards. Chadwick, sighted to the far post, too much on it. Thomas will try and keep it alive. Allen closest to him in the 11 jersey for Leeds. Back to Ferguson. Now Coleman. Newcastle very deep apart from the number 9. Low block trying to force any errors. Coleman goes wide as a result. Cresswell stays on side. Back to Chadwick again. No ambition for him this time to cross it. Trying to get Newcastle second guessing. Cresswell into Richards. This is very patient from Leeds. And it's very successful so far. Can they put the icing on the cake? Trying to squeeze it to Chambers. They get it to the number 10. Slips slightly. And the towering defender is scrapping away. That should be a goal kick. And it will be. But quite an enjoyable watch, that. Watching Leeds spray the ball around. It was all very well weighted. Everything was precise.
Yeah,
Newcastle were just as good defensively.
yeah, the tempo of the passing's really good. Not putting the ball at the risk as well. Mentioned, if Newcastle are going to be deep and you're going to have the possession, especially your two centre-halves, even the guys in midfield as well, don't put the ball at risk, and we're not doing that. We're just making the right choices on the ball majority of the time.
Ferguson intercepted. Now he's on his way, trying to get a ball into the area. Thomas was the target. Newcastle intercept. Now they pick up the pieces with Allen. And there's a low block for Newcastle. Is meaning that once they clear it, Leeds are just picking the ball back up. Douglas to Ferguson. Doesn't get the cross how he wanted it. He'd have liked to have either put more power on that or be a bit deeper with his delivery. But again, as a midfielder for Leeds, getting on the ball nice and early, Ben. Ferguson getting up as well, and even Alfie Cresswell. I mean, we know. I think if he had to pick where he'd play, he'd be playing centre half. But part of this mould of being a 21s player, we say it every time, is playing in different positions, and he looked bright out at right back.
Yeah, he's enjoying the space out wide, but it's the rotation, the movement. You see Chambers heavily involved so far as well. Mention him just before kick-off in the number 10, and these are the type of players just thrive on that bit of movement, getting the delivery into them nice and early, so they can utilise that just extra half yard of space that they will create.
Newcastle into the penalty area. Cut backwards. Looked dangerous. King Coleman made it look so calm and relaxed. And as he goes to Allen, and likewise, he's showing a bit of calmness on the ball. Took all the time he needed. Then he wins the free kick, and Newcastle are just trying to shut this down. So early days, you never know what Newcastle will do to switch the tactics, but having the low block is not getting the best out of Diallo or Crossley in the final third. Important for Leeds, of course, Ben, that if Newcastle do adopt these tactics for the time being, they get an opening goal to punish them, but as of yet, we await that. It's with Jay Turner-Cook. Back to fullback Shahar. He's fouled, free kick given. Maybe a chance for Newcastle to send the bigger bodies forward. Doesn't look like it for now. Wind slightly picking up at the Blue Flames ground on this beautiful evening on this Friday night, listening here on LUTV. Chambers is quick, but not quick enough, sadly, to get to Stanton. Now with MacArthur. Quick fire 1-2. It's now Newcastle's turn to build a bit of possession, but I think this is what they've wanted for a while.
Yeah, I think for themselves, just to almost get a foothold in the game, because we've been dictating, especially how the game's been played out in terms of the territory, and we've no interest at the moment pressing. Sometimes it's just good to get in a compact shape and under no threat here. As soon as the ball goes wide, that's where you need to engage.
They'll need to try to do that now with Richards tracking Diallo. Montero sticks out the leg to get the block in. It's picked up by Harrison. Back to Diallo. Charlton up the line. Diallo doesn't use him. Montero again with the foot in the way. Good ball that from Newcastle. It's unlocked that Leeds midfield. Miley. Dangerous ball in. And a shot over the top. Just what we want to see from a Leeds perspective. But a response from Newcastle. 16.5 minutes in. We've got a close game here.
It was fantastic defending by Cresswell, because on this initial one, didn't manage to clear the danger fully. Newcastle recycled the ball, get it out wide to the right, first time cross, but what covering defending, and that's the advantage having a centre-half playing at right back. He knows the positions he needs to get in from defensive point of view. Did so well, did Cresswell.
Newcastle with the throw. Options down the line include Turner Cook, but doesn't reach him. Allen goes past him, but gives the ball away. No free kick, so Leeds under pressure. Moore pokes it out for a throw. Chris Moore's campaign continues to be as balmy as it was from the first whistle, playing left back for a half on Monday after that injury to Ferguson. Back with what was his usual centre-half partner at the start of the year in Montero. And ball appeal from Leeds, ignored by the officials. They win the throw. Leeds, just for the last couple of minutes, not had their foot on the ball, but there'd be no reason for Scott Garner to panic. You often either look at the possession stats or the final third touches. Benno, of course, going back old school goalkeeper saves, and none for Van der Heuvel in the Leeds goal.
And from a defensive point of view, without the ball, good shape, good starting positions, but on the front foot, trying to anticipate the pass where it's going to be. Can you get in front of the attacker? If not, we're fine. Good shape.
That will be a free kick. Ferguson just took a swipe, I think, behind. When you go in from behind, Ben, it's often you've already nearly guilty before the referee's even had a look at it. He sees Ferguson's leg. Coleman was also quite close to it. A dangerous free kick position here. Ben won't know too much about that, though, because he was always goal side and had the box covered, so having to tackle from behind wasn't his forte. As Leeds have a free kick to defend. As two occupying the edge of the box. One of those is Miley. There's also Shahar as well in the number 2 jersey. Just behind is Harrison for a short, so that's why Kean Coleman's just flirting with the idea of having to rush out. Referee's happy though. Delivered in, not dealt with by Thomas. Leeds have to get there. No swinging leg from Chadwick. Kept his feet planted in the ground. A good call by the looks of things. And yet another set piece dealt with. Charlton to Diallo. Cresswell tried to nudge him off the ball and missed. Diallo gets the cut back. Montero stuck anything in the way. This time it's gone the opposite way he wanted, but another corner to come. Yeah,
we mentioned the threats for Newcastle. Here's the two wide guys this time. Diallo on this left-hand side. See how quick he is. Times we tried to double up with him. Cresswell and Richards.
Missed at the near post by Leeds and nearly tapped home by Newcastle. Good covering defending again. Been very evenly matched so far. Just when one team looks like they're going to score, the other shows a bit of defensive nous and command. That's a good ball forward from Harris. Diallo at the far post asking for it. 1-2 under hit. And now it's Leeds' turn, Ben, to when they're clearing. It's just it's almost like rugby league looking for 40-20. You try to clear towards touch lines rather than play it into the striker. And that's where Leeds will ideally try and change it, because this man here can do that with his running. Chambers gets the advantage from the free kick. He's still going to go into the area, wants to cut back, smashes it into the frame of Charlie MacArthur. I'd hate to play against Sam Chambers. Corner to Leeds.
It's fantastic play, really is. As you were just saying, Newcastle just starting to dictate the play. And this is what you need from one of your midfielders, just to get the ball, drive us up the pitch, show good strength, good pace.
Thomas signals for what's coming for Leeds. It's a near post delivery, headed up and away in midfield. That time by, I think it was Stanton that got to it first. So Thomas gets a second go. Nearly halfway through this first 45. If you're just joining us here on LUTV. Not that much goalmouth action. This time a high hanging ball just over the head of Montero. And the reaction of Cresswell, Chadwick and a few others suggest they thought that he was going to get to that.
Yeah, I think he just misjudged the flight of the ball because it was a decent delivery, good movement from Montero as well. Lost his marker, and I think he just thought he was going to run onto it, and as he's moved towards the ball, he just got underneath it ever so slightly.
Yeah, tough to read, as the reading of the play's Chris Moore's job. And while he can't keep it in touch, he can just clear for territory. Numbers slowly increasing at the home of the Northumberland FA, the Blue Flames ground. Harris to MacArthur. Diallo. Charlton's out wide. Inside is Crossley. Montero, first clearance from Leeds was blocked by their own player. And it's not to argue that the right channel won't be just as effective, but it's fair to say that Newcastle are preferring this left. Charlton, Diallo, Harrison have all got in behind. Diallo again. Cresswell. Here's Montero and back to Van der Heuvel. And this is where having Joe Richards as a right winger, who's a right back, you'd like to feel as the game goes almost start to take effect, because Leeds will have to start to adjust to what Newcastle are doing.
Yeah, and Cresswell as well, who's playing ever so slightly out of position. He'll just be talking to Richards and just saying, look, can we double up as we can? There'll be times when Richards can't do it, and it's up to one of the midfielders to notice, to fill into the space. But between them, the communication will be so vital tonight.
Diallo with the dummy, which Cresswell didn't fall for. Harrison. Stanton. Ferguson watched it all the way, just didn't have the height. Now he's got the defending to do. Newcastle have got behind him. Cutback's coming. Diallo will have a swing at it. Slices it. Leeds have still got work to do. Ontero's underneath it. There's a few other bodies. It's Coleman's right boot that gets underneath the ball and clears, but it's now Newcastle on the front foot. Marley has a go. Zips past the far post of goalkeeper Danny van der Heuvel. And we're just starting to see the 50-50 tussle turn in favour to the home team.
Yeah, again, this time wide areas on the right-hand side. Sooner or later, Newcastle will take advantage if they keep getting the ball out wide. Can we stop it at source? But then when it does go out there, can we have strength in numbers just to help out defending? Because if you're doing a lot of 1v1 defending, you can be brilliant 9 times out of 10. It's just that one occasion where they might take advantage of the situation.
Newcastle playing out from the back again, this time with Thompson to Shahar. Ferguson clears. Crossley shaken off the ball. Allen to Montero. Leeds have not had much possession for a while now. Thomas looking for Chambers. That's an avenue Leeds would love to exploit. Up to the forward, get the number 10 in behind. There was an appeal for a free kick from Chambers. He was certainly caught. Cresswell knows he hasn't got the pace to keep up with Diallo. He's trying to nudge him off the ball. He's missed for the second time in a row, but that's the covering work of Cresswell. Gets his body back behind the ball, refusing to give in. Puts the pressure on, and while he lost the first battle, the war was not a defeat for Alfred Cresswell. Great heart, determination, bent 27 gone, still goalless.
Well, that's what you want to see from your defenders. Like I was saying, players are going to go past you. How can you react? How can you get back into shape? How can you recover? And his recovery runs, his recovery defending were absolutely superb.
Charlton. Into Crossley, who's making an overlapping run of Diallo. Cresswell has his eye on him. Crossley gets away, hits the back of Montero. Moore gets across. Thomas a bit too far forward to latch onto the clearance. These two exchanging attack versus defence situations so far in the first 28 minutes. It was Leeds for the first 15. And then around since then, it's been all Newcastle. But again, the goalkeeper's yet to put his hands on the ball. It's been up to the centre-backs, the wing-backs to get crosses in, holding midfielders to clear it away. Richards gets to Diallo. That's the first time he's managed to stand him up. It's good work. Chambers. Diallo trying to pull him back. He's given up on the situation. That's allowed Chambers to get forward just at the last second. MacArthur went for it, but perhaps a sight there. If you were looking at a fine margin, Ben, you just looked at the number 11. He had a few goes and then thought, well, I can't be bothered, actually. I've worked it out. You get past Diallo, we're in. This game's easy.
Simple game. Don't overcomplicate it. But I just thought, do you know what? I can't be bothered running back anymore. It was a good opportunity for Chambers. Just picked the wrong option in the end.
MacArthur again. Diallo under hits it, and Ferguson very calmly goes back to his goalkeeper, who's alert enough to keep it in play. 15 left, Ben, first half. Your thoughts of a way back, not in, but a way back to start getting that momentum back?
Well, first 15 minutes, we were the dominant team, and then it's flipped around for the second 15, where Newcastle are dominating the ball, dominating territory. So you just like to see us just have a bit of possession in these areas, just move the ball, just play a simple pass, there we go back to the centre half, just to get a feel again in the game that you're putting your own authority into the performance.
Misplaced pass from deep from Leeds, and frustration that for visiting team, because that was where they thought they could keep it alive and just keep chipping away, narrowly gaining a few yards, but then a long ball is mishit. To Thomas and Chambers to try and execute the press up front. Newcastle have gone straight through it there, though. Stanton from the pass from Turner-Cook. He'd have numbers out there, but all Stanton wanted to do was cross it in, and you could hear the shout of Van der Heuvel to take control. Right of the Leeds bench, you've got Christie, Douglas, Snowden, Lapata, White and Debayo. So a couple of forward options and two centre-halves. Richards, that'll hurt as he gets up. Richards, of course, should have been where he was on that right-hand side, so he's now getting back. Chadwick had to fill in. Diallo, Richards trying to stand him up. Gets enough of a bit of pressure on him, but the cross hits Cresswell behind for a corner.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation where you're doubling up. Gets past Richards, but then Cresswell's in a good position to block the cross. Both did well there.
Headed over the top by MacArthur, who screams in frustration. Goal kick to Leeds. So again, reminder, a win today for Leeds. They go above Newcastle. I guess what's it like as a player, Ben, when you've got, you know, you can't win the league, you know, you can't, climb the league that much. It's been a tough year for a young group, but when you're playing a team away from home, and then if you win, you can go above them. Is it like little small building blocks when you just try to see out your season? Because we know the group doesn't quit, but you need something to motivate you, don't you?
Oh, well, the motivations you see every day. in the training sessions, in the gym work, highly motivated, and that's driven by Scott Gardner, rest of the coaching staff as well. And for the players, it's that personal pride, and you have to say, see some games at this stage of the season, you look at the league table, you think not much to play for. The players drive it within, and that's what's so good about this group.
Yeah, Chadwick's not happy there at Moore's decision to go backwards. Leeds have just lost that confidence in possession, but it's been beaten out of them by Newcastle's driving attacks. But when Leeds do come forward, it's ambitious. It's pretty fluid as well, as Richards goes back to Coleman. Cresswell to Chadwick. Coleman into the channel for Cresswell, just overhit it. Out of play for a goal kick, but the first time, maybe 17 minutes, Ben, we've actually got into this area of the pitch.
Yeah, and that's where we just needed to play a little bit more, just around the middle of the pitch into the Newcastle half as well, and just get that foothold that we had in the first 15, because it was us dominating possession, playing at a good tempo, the passing was crisp, it was accurate, movement was good. Fair play to Newcastle, they've come straight back into this game.
The goalkeeper to just reset and calm things down. Chadwick wide to Cresswell. He knew he couldn't keep hold of it. Thomas, it pings off him. Poor touch taken away from him by Miley. Out to Turner Cook. He's got so much space. Ferguson realised that, scythed him down. We might have our first yellow card of the game. Conor Ferguson was way out of position, because Leeds had the ball. He was, once he saw it go to Thomas, he had to go forward. That's his job. He's actually done well to recover, Ben, to be fair.
No, he has. Gets back into it straight away, and I'm with you. I think the referee was thinking about a yellow card, went for the spray instead.
Yeah, I'm quite shocked.
And you can see the technicians Newcastle have in their team, dangerous situation, but that's where you need to look after possession, whether it's your striker, midfielder, because your full-backs, your wide players, they will not gamble, but that is the plan. That is the way we like to play, the method, and when you do give away in those situations, you leave yourself exposed.
Yeah, exposed here with Turner Cook stood over it. You've also got Leo Shahar. He's the right-footed option. Turner Cook the left. Van der Heuvel is poised. It's a four-man wall for Leeds. Curling effort just over the top. Plenty of fizz on that ball. Van der Heuvel has got great reactions. He dived the right way, but thankfully for Leeds, it went over the top. And there wasn't that much to panic about. See it here again. You just see the slightest dip on the ball, but doesn't matter.
No, danger averted. Tried to just catch Van der Heuvel out, didn't go to his side. But you look to the wall, it was a big wall. They're all on the tiptoes as well. And dangerous situation, dealt with it okay.
Yeah, for a throw where Leeds can look across, and yeah, if you were taking that set piece, you might have been quite excited, Ben, actually. Just as it started to dip towards the goal. Ferguson encouraging the players forward, but of course Moore, he's just covering should he need to. And the clearance finds touch. So into the final 10 minutes. If you have only watched the last 20, you would feel it's been a lacklustre start from Leeds, but they were dominating everything in the first 15, and maybe if they were being super critical of themselves, they didn't take a chance to really get a good save out of the goalkeeper. Good work from Montero. First chance he's actually had a sight of the ball near the striker to nip in. Richards saw it late, kept it alive. Chambers again just runs away from traffic. Allen with a rare touch. He's been Had no service whatsoever out on the left wing.
I was playing up front. Well, I started in the centre mids.
And here is Coleman
Half time.
looking for a way forward. Now across to Chadwick.
Playing centre mid as well.
Referee
I was all
is just stopping proceedings because Conor Ferguson
on the ball through.
is playing without a boot.
Second half, I turned to striker, right?
I mean,
Took it off.
I can see it. If Leeds lose the ball, we need.
And there was a free kick then.
I think the referee's just going to give it straight back to Coleman. So in fairness, Leeds weren't really going very far. I don't think that's a bad call. What I like there, Ben, though, was there was a few times that Newcastle engaged the press. Leeds passed through it. Then when they thought we can't go forward, we'll go back. The chess match continues.
Yeah, it does. It is. Game like that, the game at the moment, isn't it? Big chess battle out there.
What we did was
And a lot of the game is played between the both boxers at the moment. Just can't get that key position and make it count at the moment.
it's on the right side of the half. I would normally curl in like that. But not on the clears there. House was on top.
Cresswell, big space for Chambers. He finds him again, but goes behind him slightly. Richards crossed it in, looking for the near post. It's been Leeds' right, Newcastle's left. It's all been played on the near side, camera side, as Cresswell, Richards pokes it away. Cresswell inside. Thomas doesn't have much power on the ball. Leeds can't shoot because of that. And there's also a big crowd of Newcastle shirts, and they get the slightest toe to the ball, and it comes away. But yeah, you do get the sense sometimes that anyone over on this far side of the pitch might as well call it a night.
Yeah, it's one of them games when it's funny how patterns of play just happen, and you're so right. The first 40 minutes or so has just been predominantly down on this touchline.
Yeah, I think Charlie Allen is going to say to Scott Garner at half-time, can I swap sides? Let me get at them on that touchline. And, of course, with Richards doubling up on Diallo, that is unlikely. But getting Allen, getting his legs open up and let him stretching, get the pace going as Thomas goes for goal, just sees it late. He claims it's a touch, and it is. Don't need to be a football expert to work out what Luca Thomas's tactics are tonight. Shoot on sight. 30 yards, 50 yards. Once he's seen the smallest glimmer, he's gone for it. Got a great assist on Monday for Ruben Lapata-White. He also put on a goal for Snowden. And both those players are on the bench as Chadwick. If you watch the under-18s FA Youth Cup coverage, you know his deliveries were so important in their progression to the final. Will it be the same again? He puts it into the box. Cresswell was lurking, but headed out by MacArthur. Won't sit enough for Coleman. And Allen gets it and just fires it wide to Chadwick once more, who will just put it straight back towards the box, but he's overhit it. In fact, no, he hasn't. Richards was just perfectly bouncing into his path. Good ball from Chadwick. I apologise to our number 8. No width because of Allen's presence and Ferguson, so Leeds will be looking for a way through. Yeah, Chris Moore didn't have any idea what Allen was doing into the final 5 minutes. But again, we've gone from first 15 Leeds, next 20 Newcastle. Last few minutes, a bit more even again.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, sometimes, especially away from home, you're going to have to withstand a bit of pressure from the home side. We've done that. I think defending's been really good as individuals, as a collective, and you just want that final part, as I was saying, when we get into the final third from an attacking sense, it's either the way of the pass just needs to be a bit more sharper, crisper, so the players can run onto a pass, or if you're trying to create an opportunity, finding that half a yard and get your shot away, and actually test out the goalkeeper.
And Hoyveld doesn't look 100% comfortable, but he got it. Got the ball away, got the danger clear. Allen pounces on a loose touch from Newcastle. Thomas has to turn. Ferguson is the one that's charging. Thomas just couldn't lay it off to him. It will be a throw-in. Newcastle have done well there because that was a phase of the game where you thought Leeds could exploit. Turner Cook. Stanton lurking on the edge of the box. Shahar deflected into the hands of Van der Heuvel. I mean, spilling the ball, or did it go out of play first? They'll blame each other. Either way, it's a corner Newcastle. Tremendous challenge from Leeds. Have released Allen up alongside him. Chadwick now coming in. Coleman, can he lay the pass? Allen, he doesn't. He's still going. He puts the shot in. It's blocked. Coleman, his reaction tells you that pass had to go. And that's the youth development of a young player, a player that's barely touched the ball, wanting to do something himself. That's a big opportunity lost there, because that was a good counter-attack. That pass had to go, didn't it?
Oh, it certainly did, because we did so well to win the initial challenge and then counter-attack. First time in a long time we've had a lot of space just to run into, and it was Charlie Allen. You're not catching him when he starts getting into his stride. Newcastle scrambling back, but it was a great run from Coleman to his right. Just had to pass it to him, just had to let him go, play out wide, play onto the right-hand side. Great opportunity missed.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he could have played it. One, he could have shot. Two, he could have given it back if it didn't go to plan. But once you go wide, as you say, it tells you straight away. Once you go wide, Newcastle will cover that space. Getting it back across then is very difficult. And that is where decision-making at the highest level will come true. And Allen will learn from that, I'm sure. Such as his quality and his pace. We've seen him do similar things and score goals, which is probably why he fancied his chances. Thomas pings it into the path of Ferguson, but waited enough so he can actually get to it. He lays it up. He was looking for the return pass, in fact. Would have been one of the best 1-2s you'll have seen for a long time. We settle for a corner anyway. And the most pleasing thing is we're on top as the first half is about to come to an end. Yeah,
it is. And you mentioned about being a bit of a chess battle out there. It really has. And first 15 minutes, we were the better team. Second 15, Newcastle came into it, but as you mentioned, ending on top, ending on the front foot. Great opportunity to get a good delivery and put it into a good area.
Thomas, flick towards goal from Chadwick. Newcastle didn't like the idea of letting that bounce, so cleared for a throw. Leeds, if they're quick enough, may get the opportunity to have one more shot towards goal. Ferguson arm up to appreciate the idea that has sadly not worked out for Leeds. There is the half-time whistle. So a very, very even the football match, Ben.
Even Stevens, that's where it's been. But defensively, it's been really good, really solid. You need that foundation, so plenty more of that. Looking to improve. Yeah, the action in the final third, create more chances, and hopefully we can convert one of those. Yeah, 2 clean sheets in a row would be a great achievement for a team at the wrong end of the table. They're looking to climb above Newcastle. Let's see if they can do it in the second half. Half-time here at LUTV. It is 0-0. As expected, the conditions have changed just a little bit, so no need for a cap in this second half. That's why Danny Van der Heuvel didn't bring one. What's the point for only half a game of football? A game of football that so far has been very, very even. You wouldn't think these two were only 2 points apart in the table, would you, Ben? Sat alongside me. Yeah, it explains a lot. No, it does. It was a decent watch, to be fair. The tactical battle was really intriguing. Newcastle yet trying to get the ball wide. That's where their main threats are, especially on the left-hand side. Ourselves, defensively good, as we've said in the first 45. Can we just transition the good stuff we have done to create those chances? That's the only part that we're missing in the first 45, but it's important we stand up to the challenge, physical, big team now, Newcastle, with that sub being made. So set pieces, these situations had to be on his guard. Need to be alert, aware. But then when we get the ball, can we start moving it a little bit quicker as well?
Yeah, fingers crossed that's the case, as this free kick early doors for Newcastle. Played in, Leeds player goes to ground, no free kick. Shahar picks up the pieces. Newcastle, it's a clever dummy. Offside flag anyway, though. So Leeds go with Van der Heuvel, Cresswell, Ferguson, Coleman, Moore, Montero, Richards, Chadwick, Thomas, Chambers and Allen. The bench is Christie, Douglas, Snowden, Lopata-White and De Bayo, if you're just joining us here on LUTV. I said earlier in the game, throughout that first half, Leeds, in fact, no offside, should I say. It was actually a free kick for a pull on the Newcastle player, so my apologies there. The flag went up very quick. So, my mistake. So, yeah, Leeds, if they win, go above Newcastle. These situations that they've got to deal with. Jamie Miley is stood over it. Looking for Diallo, an important touch. I think it's Chadwick that got his toe to it. And Chambers the furthest forward. I know there'll be a few viewers that look at that free kick and think, if you get it in the box, it's a lot more dangerous. I mean, I think we're delighted by it, but let's look a break off, because on the front foot here, Crossley. Coleman gets to it. And now it's Chambers. This is not where Newcastle want him. It's exactly what Leeds want him to be doing, running forward. The pass is pushed Thomas wide. Thomas running at Heffernan, the sub, to Chambers, and he loses his balance, does eventually. Tries to drive it across the face. For a minute he got hold of that ball, Chambers, he never had it set. But yeah, from one end of it, Ben, I expected Newcastle to cross it, going short, actually help Leeds, and then the other end Leeds attacking. So the start of the second half, Scott Gardner were pleased by.
Yeah, and Keane Coleman did ever so well just to create this bit of a counter-attack. It was, because instead of just putting his foot through the ball, clearing his lines, he picked out a pass, and that allowed Chambers to get the ball on the half-turn. There were times in the first half when, yeah, rightly so, clearing your lines, but sometimes making that challenge or trying to relieve that bit of pressure, can you pick out a pass as well? Can you try and find a teammate? Because that'll give you that space and then transition from the defence that we were into a potential counter-attack.
Here's Diallo. Richards running alongside him. Turner-Cook. Shahar on the overlap. Headed away by Montero. Diallo gets to it. Chambers tried to poke it away. The touch from Stanton keeps Newcastle driving forward. Miley to Stanton. Back to Shahar. Well, stopped by Ferguson. Up to Thomas. Allen with an ambitious pass forward. And it's just those areas where the game's been finely balanced. You can't fail with your counter-attack, because the options for both teams have not been plentiful enough. And again, the tactics are very similar to the first half. Nobody pushing forward that much, no switching formation. Free kick to Newcastle. Sorry, throw into Newcastle. Free kick appeal. What they thought was a push by Richards. Back to Miley. Again, Leeds. Back into Heffernan. Now Diallo. Crossley to Harrison. All the way across the pitch to the far post. And Turner-Cook looking to divert it back into an area. And Ferguson, not for the first time in this last few minutes, been positioning A1, exactly where he needed to be, got the blocking.
Yeah, again, another good example of the defending. Again, when it's individual, finding themselves in good starting positions, and then collectively that just transcends into a good shape. So, mentioned the height for Newcastle. They'll be trying to take advantage. Hopefully they go short again. I don't think they're going to make the similar mistake.
A word to Harrison from Miley. Montero with a header away. Yeah, again, a very important interception from him. Chambers has to get his body in the way. Does. There was not enough contact for a free kick. Ferguson, by the skin of his teeth, takes it away from Harrison. And everybody in Newcastle telling the centre-half there that they had time. Ferguson again, positioning gets him into a spot where he can stop a Newcastle attack. Turner Cook, Ferguson try to poke it away from around the hip, doesn't get to it. Diallo. Harrison, across the face, good save, but it's tipped straight back out and an opportunity missed. Crossley smashing it over the crossbar from point-blank range. I think everybody in attendance and those watching it to the net to bulge there, Ben, we've got away with one, and it remains goalless.
Yeah, just the first time when, for Newcastle, the number 10 just gets in behind the back four. We've been so good at filling spaces, but this time they get the third man run, time it right with a pass. Good initial save from Van der Heuvel, but you're just expecting Newcastle on the follow-up to find back of the net. Biggest chance of the match.
Yeah, Kyle Crossley, the one that was going for goal, and especially as the number 9 as well, he'd have been so frustrated that he missed that. That's normally where he comes to the fore. Another good teasing ball. They needed to be in a centre forward there, and of course Crossley was expected to be on hand, so hopefully not a sign of things to come, but that's the last 2 crosses into the box that have put Leeds on notice. Actually went all the way out for a Leeds throw, so work to do here for Scott Gardner's men. Chambers somehow gets it to Thomas. Now Richards joining in. Allen in support. Richards just takes a bit of steam out of the attack. Coleman to Chadwick and back again. Leeds' time to slow things down, keep possession, but Newcastle are actually quite happy for them to go back to Van der Heuvel. When they do, that's when they start to engage more of a press. They clearly feel that's a weakness. Coleman to Cresswell inside. Richards is telling Cresswell to keep carrying this ball, and the centre-half will take the invitation to Richards. Turns. Nobody behind because of Cresswell's advancing run. So Leeds go back and start once more. Montero. Chadwick to Coleman. No options for Keane Coleman that he preferred, so if this was a keep ball exercise, Leeds have passed the test. But again, Newcastle, you can see the press. It's like a switch flicked, Ben. Ball to keeper, everyone charged. When they've actually got the ball, there's a foul there on the defender. Newcastle have been quite passive.
It's just getting that balance right, isn't it? Where if you are going to go press as a team. If you're going to sit off, do so, get into that good shape. But it's just the transition when we are in possession going forward. we're in some really promising positions, but maybe a way to the pass, a wrong option, or we've been coming just back on ourselves and allowing Newcastle to get the numbers back. Sometimes just be a bit more braver in possession.
Yeah, reminder, in fact, we'll break it up because Newcastle with Harrison are panning forward to Stanton. Turner Cook. Shahar opened up for him slightly. Leeds closed it down. Now Richards. Thomas was asking for it over the top early. Allen. No free kick given. Big surprise from Charlie Allen, but he didn't have the ball. Leeds will claim he was taken from it, but Newcastle will say there's little in it, and the referee has tried, when he's been given the opportunity, to let the game flow. Diallo fouled, free kick given. Thomas asking for an instruction from Scott Gardner. Another set piece to defend. Not in that time though, Ben, where they're under pressure, Leeds. You maybe look at a sub to actually change it on the ball. Snowden or Douglas, put someone else in that attacking position, but defensively, while they've had a lot to do, they've dealt with, it's not as if they're panicking back there.
No, they're not, and it's not like backs against the wall type of stuff, far from it. As I said in the first half, you expect, especially coming away from home, to having to deal with a bit of pressure, and how you stand up against that pressure. Been dealing with really well so far.
Miley's delivery to the far post. Heffernan gets to it. Moore took his time, got rid of the ball. A decent enough clearance to Stanton. And there's a sub coming here. It will be one in Leeds United colours, and it is Snowden. Got a brace against Derby. It's also Connor Douglas, so I did say we might get some offensive changes. Don't get much more offensive than this. Left back off for winger. And Douglas, traditionally a left midfielder when he first joined the 21s. That was last year during the injury problems we had. And that's a more likely change, a winger for another. So, your thoughts, Ben, on changes made by Scott Gardner?
I think what we'll see is Joe Richards just going over to the left-back position. Conor Ferguson probably more managing his minutes, just under an hour in his legs, back from injury himself, getting more minutes, and yeah, good to see back out there, good performance. So you expect, yeah, Richards at left-back, Conor Douglas out to the right. You'll see Snowden on the left.
Yes, it was where he scored his 2 goals from the other day, Snowden. Douglas taken out of there by Charlton's smart turn to Turner Cook, who makes his bit of control look a bit fancy. Shahar, Richards dived in to try and stop the cross, so did Chambers, and that touch is important. Stanton misses it, Thomas is on his way. Chambers just carries the ball so well, it's effortless. And on his way he's going, he's got Douglas to his right, he rolls it to the sub. Now Douglas looking for a way through. Can he get a shooting range? He can, he gets the smallest of gaps out to Thomas. 2 Newcastle players going down. Thomas tried to wrap his foot around it, slipped as he did so. And that is unfortunate, but again, the way that Chambers runs with the ball, you just can't, any touch he takes forward, if you're a centre forward, you are just running. Get into a position to attack because you know what's coming.
Yeah, exactly, and he's a powerful runner, but it just glides at the same time. But another good opportunity missed. We've been getting some really good areas, good situations the first hour of this match, and where it's, yeah, just the pass just need a bit more tempo on it, just wrapped in a little bit more, played a bit behind the player waiting on it, because we just need to, when we get those opportunities, just maximise them more, because a 3v3, great opportunity to at least get an effort on target, get a shot away, and nothing came of it in the end.
Snowden. Heffernan had it covered all the way. Heffernan to Charlton. Douglas races across to try and cover. Diallo charges forward. Good header away by Moore. Chambers wins a free kick. Because it's a strider 2-2 far, the referee stops the game. That will allow Newcastle to get some bodies behind the ball. So our mark is behind us. Nothing to split them. Cresswell, Douglas, Chadwick. Ball out for a throw. It's a different setup so far. I mean, there's half an hour left, Ben. Things can go wrong. But it's nice to see a defensive first performance, isn't it? Because this has been, as we said earlier, most of the season played with under 18s players in the squad. Lots of change, players going out on loan, players leaving. Never really had a settled starting 11 for the last 5 or 6 months. That's why they've been dropping down the table. And while going forward, it's not been great tonight. There's a few signs it could be, but defensively, really, really solid. Yeah,
you need that base, don't you? Getting the clean sheet against Dabbage, I mentioned, was brilliant. Give the players confidence.
Yeah, Snowden. What a ball. Looking for Douglas, put it back into Thomas. The two subs combining well. Coleman had a little think about the shot. Chadwick might even have a think about the shot. Instead, he lays it to Douglas across the face. He just didn't leave his boot that true. Chadwick tried to cover, and Leeds have just turned the screw a little bit there. Here's Coleman. Newcastle a bit lazy, allowing Coleman to stride forward. Thomas. He and Douglas not on the same page. You could see there were thoughts of a through ball. Douglas then planted his feet. Thomas played it. But a few things bubbling under the surface there. Free kick. Arguably the most obvious yellow card we've had so far, if you don't count Connor Ferguson, and Miley is the first man booked this evening. A pull back on Kieran Coleman. So Chadwick, difficult to actually get, can't put too much power on it. That is high and hanging ball to the far post. That's a touch from a Newcastle player, but a push in the back as well. I mean, there's a long delay here. That's a corner. Well, they've argued with each other. Referee chooses. The linesman doesn't have a clue. The referee's made the call. There's all sorts of disagreements. There's a handball appeal as well. Pick it out, Ben.
It's handball. Has to be handball. You can just see it here. The defender loses the flight of it and lifts his arm up.
I thought it was the shoulder.
See the talking here. It is a penalty.
Penalty given. Well, the linesman looks across. Now, I mean, the linesman gave a goal kick. So the linesman's gone across. I'm very confused. The linesman's given a goal kick. It's the referee that's given the corner. Now he's gone across. And then whatever he said, he's gone, well, yeah, it must be a penalty. Great officiating. Penalty opportunity for Leeds United.
Yeah, in the end, they've come to the correct decision. It was a handball. And even though the linesman was giving decisions and then contradicting himself in the end, the decision has come to, ultimately, it is a penalty kick. And something out of nothing, really. Just a hopeful ball into the box. Really lofted, wasn't it? And just a little bit of pressure leads to a mistake. Nearly a mistake from the officials, but that was good. That's what you want to see from the referee and linesman, having a bit of dialogue, talking about the actual decision, coming to the right one. Big chance here for Luca Thomas.
Yeah, big chance indeed. Newcastle adamant it wasn't a penalty. After that quick conversation, the officials disagree. So Luca Thomas will be left-footed to have the chance to beat Aidan Harris for the opening goal of the game. And 24 minutes left. Up he steps, puts it into the bottom corner, dispatches it with real confidence and ease. Luca Thomas scores once again this season, and the celebrations go to the Leeds United under-21s. They lead by 1-0.
Any penalty like you score is always a good one, but the keeper going the right way still gets nowhere near it. Accurate, powerful, and it's all the hard work you put in defensively for these moments because, yeah, going forward, we've just not had that killer instinct tonight, but enables to get the penalty, score the penalty by being defensively solid. Gives us that scoreline 1-0.
So change there. You could hear De Ball off, De Ball on, Stanton off. So 20. You'd probably say about 26 minutes by the time they've added all the stoppage time on. Although, of course, at Ellen Road the other week, there was 7 subs, lots of stoppage time, lots of wasting time, and only 3 minutes. So I could be wrong. I could be wrong. As Newcastle have the ball. Yeah, I love the penalty from Thomas. So true, the strike right into that bottom corner. Keeper, as you say, Ben, guessed the right way. Leeds have already played their cards when it comes to offensive switches, so Newcastle have tried to switch things in their favour. We might get a much different game now because Newcastle might have to try and take the shackles off a little bit. Then you're looking at the exploit, you know, can Snowden or Douglas getting behind? I think the more important thing is no one can switch off and lose a runner because we know what Newcastle are about to throw at us, I think. Turner Cook gets past Richards. And like Cresswell did in the first half, even though the fullback was beaten, he made sure he got goal side as quickly as possible. Heffernan to Shahar. Always wanted to go inside. Leeds didn't allow that. Miley. Turner Cook. Montero again. He's been in the right place so many times tonight for Leeds. Long may that continue. Poke ball forwards, caught Richards out to the far post. A couple of bodies coming in. Referee gets in the way. That's a clearance from Douglas. And it will be a stoppage in the game. But I've never been, well, 1, good enough and 2, crazy enough to be a goalkeeper. But if I was, I'd be quite happy with my 2 centre-halves tonight.
Oh, you'd be absolutely delighted. But it's just not the 2 centre-halves who've been excellent. The back 4, the 2 midfield players in front of them. And then starting from Luca Thomas, whether he's going to go press, whether he's drop off to have that compact shape that we've seen for the first, well, for a majority of the game, to be honest, because the shape's been fantastic. Starting positions, the communication. Going to need plenty more of it, though, for the remaining 20 minutes or so.
Coleman, too strong in the challenge. Thomas appreciated the idea, he just couldn't execute what he wanted to do there. Newcastle wanted a free kick. They got one. Strong challenge on Diallo, who's been left in a heap on the floor. And Newcastle will now get a chance to send forward Heffernan. They don't need it though. Take it short. Leeds have been caught out. Diallo. Header towards goal. Van der Heuvel was never really panicked, but there's an area for Leeds to work on because they fell asleep there. Not falling asleep here though. Thomas did lose sight of the ball. He's unlucky. Newcastle did the same thing that Leeds did. Didn't expect a long pass downfield. If Luca Thomas's back wasn't as broad as it is, we're away, Ben.
Oh, it was. Van der Heuvel, ever so bright and sharp, just to notice that situation, 1v1. As we all know, you can't be offside from a goal kick. Good starting position from Luca Thomas as Van der Heuvel does a bit of sweeping at the back. But just, yeah, as you said, so unlucky just where the ball fell and hit Luca Thomas on the back. If he hadn't, it'd have been 1v1 with the goalkeeper.
Poor pass. Joe Snowden just a quick clap, fired up after coming off the bench. Thomas in an arm wrestle. Gets Chadwick on the front foot and he wins his team a throw just by the sheer pressure he brought to that move. Douglas hasn't had too many touches, never has Snowden really. Don't think it helped their ability to get into the game that we took the lead, but of course team game matters more than anything else. Douglas lays it back to Chadwick. Protects the ball. Douglas. And back again, all quite methodical this from Leeds. Coleman stretching a little. And Chambers was eventually offside. Richards does well, gets himself set to Coleman. Newcastle are just waiting for anyone to make a missed touch or try and read the game a bit better. Moore could have gone for territory, just try to play it to Snowden. It gets there eventually. Joe Snowden just dispossessed. Shahar gets it. He's been one of Newcastle's brighter players. Now to Heffernan. And a misplaced pass. Leeds intercept it. Oh, it was eventually going to reach its target, so in the end, good interception from the Whites on the right-hand side. Diallo has come a bit more inside in the second half. Turner Cook has done the exact same thing. Attempted back heel, goes astray. Now Chambers, Newcastle again. You can see the danger. Miley's got to be careful. He's on a card. Chambers releases it early to Thomas. Great ball back inside by Thomas. Sadly intercepted. Snowden there to pick up the pieces. Still going. Thomas. Goes to ground. Not much in that. And Newcastle will get the chance to clear. They'll do it after Coleman's made them work for it, though. And Coleman's got the ball back there. It's a good challenge. That could actually be a Leeds throw, and it is. And that's the sort of work that any Leeds fan watching connected to the club will be happy about. There's a change up front here because coming off is Kyle Crossley. He's replaced by Joe Brayson. So Newcastle are using their full complement of attacking subs. If you're going to win this game, Ben, I think we knew from maybe 30 minutes this is going to be a bit of a slog. Sliding in there. I mean, Newcastle were away, but not in an attacking position. It's those little things that matter, doesn't it? It sets the standard. We'll break off because Chadwick hits it. Defender gets in the way. Somehow Douglas reacts to it. Keeper catches it. I mean, how the Newcastle defender still stood up, I don't know. Chadwick let fly. And some positive moments all round there in Leeds colours, defensively and offensively.
Yeah, I think going back to a point about Keane Coleman, the challenge, and to win the throw-in, but it just epitomises the effort not only himself but the team have put in. It's been great to see. And then Chadwick's strike, wow, certainly connected it with it. And we're seeing some of the strikes in the FA Youth Cup as well. We know he can connect with the ball.
Yeah, we certainly do. Now Newcastle coming forward. Turner Cook, he's put too much on it for anyone to get a touch on that. Leeds getting back. It's deflected into their path, though. Out to Harrison. He's the left-footed player. They let him get onto his left foot. He's dragged it wide. An area to learn from, and you might have to see more at centre-half there with his arms out, telling his teammates in front of him to switch on.
We could just see sometimes that occasion you do have to put your foot through the ball, clear your lines. That's the right option. That time we just tried to play ourselves out of trouble. It wasn't on. Newcastle had the bodies in good starting positions. That's how they got the turnover. So yeah, the remaining time left of the game, we just know we've got to sometimes clear his lines. Even with the goal kick here, I know it's a long pass, and what a pass it is as well from Danny van der Heuvel.
Yeah, very good. Gets Chambers away. He does have good distribution. The Leeds number one of his main assets as a goalkeeper. He's been very comfortable in possession. Of course, that's the modern way. There's a lot of fans, I'm sure, tuning in which would much prefer him to be very good at his handling, which he thankfully is. As here is Diallo. Racing away, but stood up by Montero. Cresswell's covered, quite natural for him as a centre-half. Diallo's got past them, though. Still going. It was Cresswell's body in the way. And a no-nonsense approach from Conor Douglas. Kicking it into touch. The change for Leeds would have to be like for like or defensive, really. Two centre-halves left on the bench. Shahar's cross deflected. Moore gets there instead. There's a slip from Coleman. Still effective enough, though, to Richards. Marley gets to it. Turner Cook again in behind. Drilled across the face by Brayson. It will be a corner, but again, defenders, centre midfielders covering, making sure Van der Heuvel doesn't have much to do.
Yeah, and to repeatedly keep doing the defensive duties takes a lot of mental strength, even more so the latter part of the game. Well, just over 11 plus stoppage to go.
Yeah, second game in 4 days as well. You say about mental fatigue as Harrison's ball in. It's not a good one for Newcastle. It's an inviting one for Luca Thomas to put his foot through it, and he is the first player up to lead the defensive charge. Newcastle's headers back in. Montero with his hooked clearance helps Leeds keep them at bay, and now Chambers gets away. So Douglas, and Chambers goes on again. Not only is he quick, Chambers, it's the strength he carries the ball. He goes to ground, then he has his backside stood on as well as he gets it into Thomas. This is great work from Leeds. On the counter, Thomas still going, has space to shoot and to score. What a counter-attack from Leeds United. Chambers at the heart of it, and then the touch of class from Luca Thomas. Pick that out, top corner. Newcastle 0, Leeds 2.
First real moment, you have to say, in the game of real quality in front of goal. But it comes from nothing, really, because Chambers, you think he's going nowhere down this right-hand side, falls to the floor. It keeps possession somehow. This lays it into Thomas, and you can always see he's trying to get half a yard on his strong left foot. But when it does, it's a devastating finish into the far corner of the net. And from a strength of position of 1-0, even better now at 2.
Yeah, how clinical was that? Absolutely superb from Leeds. And Newcastle look a little stunned. They've been peppering them in terms of crosses, centre-halves, Montero, Mort, and then those defenders have done their bit at the other end with some vital blocks, and then you look at the other end and Luca Thomas does that. He started the season with a hat-trick, did Luca Thomas. He's on for another one if he gets the time. Offside there. Done a couple of scout reports in my time, Ben. Mine would say don't let Luca Thomas shoot with his left foot. if I was trying to stop him. Right needs a little bit of work. Left, do not let that happen.
But Newcastle, I thought they'd had good numbers, and they did. Break off here.
Yeah, into the box. Coleman gets it. And cleared away. Chambers and Thomas can't bring it under control. Here's Diallo. Harrison, Diallo. Newcastle have carved their way through. Bryson's going forward. What a block from Cresswell. Just as important as Thomas's touch at the other end, if not more important, because Newcastle would have been so overjoyed there. Thomas, he turns. I thought he had the thought about going for goal there. I think he did. And he was brought down. Appeals for a free kick. Go unnoticed. Turner Cook on the front foot. Snowden commits. Brings him to ground. Nothing in it, says the ref. Did Luca Thomas think about shooting there?
Oh, 100%. You could just see him winding it up. And it's no stranger. He has scored from in his own half, playing for the under-18s only a couple of years back, if that. So he's got in his locker. And when you've got 2 goals to your name, it'd be unbelievable to get your hatchet that way. But just shows the confidence that he's playing with at the moment.
A bit of leadership. I mean, the sub was going to do it for him anyway, but Moore was just telling Richards to calm down there as the change is coming on. So it's Jordan Hackett, by the looks of things. And he will replace Miley, who's one of the, in fact, the only player with a card. But yeah, we go back to that goal. The fact it's very much the Leeds way, isn't it? Fans will take to you if you fight and never give up. That would have got the biggest cheer at Ellen Road if Chambers on the deck, getting up, climbing away, nearly got stood on, plays it inside and goal. Wasn't pretty. It was eventually when it hit Thomas's boot, but all the build-up was nothing but hard work.
No, and it's almost like the old cliche in football. It never changes, but you have to work hard. You have to earn the right to play, and it's been almost like a classic away performance in terms of grinding, digging in. Not too long ago, that block from Cresswell probably sums it up perfectly. Putting your bodies on the line when it needs to be. But then going up the other end, yeah, penalty, it certainly helps, go 1-0 up, but then that little bit of quality from Luca Thomas to make it 2. All-round package of the game has been brilliant.
Turner Cook in space again. Leeds have given him that. He wants to shoot. Coleman stops him from doing it. Harrison to Diallo. Working the close quarters. Coleman takes it away from Chambers. I mean, Chambers is the best runner of the ball in the team. Keane Coleman's not far off him, in fairness. Leeds have run into a tight squeeze there, though, and given the ball away. These don't switch off, i.e. by giving Turner Cook space there. Chadwick spots it, stops it immediately. There's Thomas. Working so hard. Can he get rid of the ball? He can. Up to Snowden. Running out of room, but straight into a bit of an arm wrestle now. There's a few more challenges flying in. There's Chambers again. You can see the body language of Harrison. He's sick to death of his opposite number running past him in midfield. It's to Douglas. He'd love to do something. He actually nutmegs Harrison, didn't mean to. And there's Leeds just trying to control the game. Thomas will go for goal. Gets too much loft as Snowden wanted it. It's time, Ben. 85 minutes. Bit of game management there, wasn't it?
Here we go. Why is it taking so long for us to mention it? But no, you're right. The scrappy nature probably might suit us a little bit because, as you mentioned, the boys in midfield who can run with the ball, make it a bit scrappy, ball falls to them, can just carry and just get away from the danger.
Yeah, Shahar, Looper, Cresswell actually heads it back across goal. Leeds had numbers there. And ball appeals. Snowden And Snowden gets it into Chambers. Very passionate appeals for handball. I think they'd have been quite passionate anyway, but especially when the first goal was given as handball and they had such a protest against it, Newcastle. The official wasn't interested, though. Chadwick down the line. Well, at least give someone something to chase. Arthur Cresswell got a bit of a headache there, making his way that far forward. His radar stopped him. And we have 5 minutes left of the 90. A win tonight takes them above Newcastle. A clean sheet back-to-back, though, in this season of development and learning about this young group will be such a good week for Scott Gardner and his team. Work, plenty of it still to do, though, to get to that stage, especially with this man on the ball. Diallo cuts it back inside. And Van der Heuvel with a relatively easy save. So, yeah, after hitting the bottom of the table a few weeks ago, Leeds are now going to be 22nd. 4 places above that, 4 points above that. A game in hand if they win and results go their way, mean they can go to 19th. Of course, fixtures depending. 3 left before tonight, just Everton and West Brom left. So no playoff football this year for the 21s. But ending games like this, Ben, clean sheet, seeing what you've got, you know, the likes of Cresswell, Richards, a few others. This man here, Lapata White. Any young defenders that have got a future at the club. Try to showcase what they can do in what's been a learning year. And this man as well, last few weeks, all these 18 players that have done well in the FA Youth Cup have been given their chance, and not one of them has done themselves any harm.
No, not at all. And that is the big game, 10th of May. And what an occasion it will be for a lot of these young players. You forget how young a lot of these still are, still qualifying for under-18s football. But these results on the under-21s level, yeah, gives individual confidence, but also as a collective as well, going forward into next season, if you can look that far ahead, just knowing that the future is bright. Very young at the moment, this under-21s group, but the learning, the development, since turn of the year, you'd have to say, it's been excellent to see how they've come on.
Yeah, here is Douglas into Coleman. So a change at the back for Leeds strengthens that. And Richards will clear down the line. Just a update, if you have been watching the coverage with an eagle eye, the teams on the names on the team sheet were wrong. My wonderful colleagues did not get it wrong originally. But the team sheet has all the numbers mixed up, and hence why the graphics have been a little out of sync. And it's often the case with team sheets at this level. They make it up as they go along. So far, the score sheet isn't made up. Leeds have deserved it in the second half. Cresswell stepping up. Diallo zipping away from him. Harrison turns it round the side door. Douglas is back there. Newcastle not going very far with it into the final 40 seconds of the 90. You probably feel maybe at least 5 minutes. Referee just glancing at the watch to check that. Turner Cook. Moore just gets his hand out of the way. Good contact to clear. Only 2 in the area for Newcastle. There's a few fans asking for more. Blocked by Chadwick. It'll fall into midfield for the Magpies. Shahar again. Coleman gets to it. It will fall in. And a one-handed save. Not that he knew much about it from Van der Heuvel. But he got the touch he needed over the top for a corner. We've got 7 minutes with the corner coming. You can see Newcastle's body language just lifting a little bit, Ben.
Yeah, they're going to sense out. They get a goal now, then grandstand finish. But from our perspective, whether it's a save like that from Danny Van der Heuvel, or just, again, winning your headers, clearing your lines. Got to keep doing it.
Looper to the far post and a chance into the side netting. Leeds would have had a really nerve-wracking 7 minutes there if that had gone in. And this is where the referee is watching every move of Danny van der Heuvel to just try to tell him to quicken things up. Just that last second, defender got away. Thankfully for Leeds, nothing to deal with for the goalkeeper. Of course, can't kick it till his socks are perfect.
Of course.
And he's kicked the post. He's patted his gloves. Anything else for the goalkeeper to do without getting in trouble?
And he's done it all without a hat on tonight.
He has. It's proved me wrong. As he often does. As a lot of people do. As the ball is in behind. Douglas and Snowden up there. It is the latter that chases it. Offside goes against Leeds. Do we have a candidate for your player of the match, Ben, as we tick into stoppage time?
Oh, it's difficult, I think, tonight to pick one outstanding individual because it's been a big team collective. Really has. Look, we're not over the line just yet. As I mentioned, if a goal from Newcastle comes now, then, yeah, panic mode will be setting in, but you think back to Chambers' runs from midfield, so powerful, Keane Coleman dictating the players alongside Chadwick in the middle of the park. The two centre-halves have been excellent. As I mentioned, I just think it's been a fantastic team performance to this point.
Yeah, fingers crossed that continues to the very last second of this game, and an important win for this young group. The Magpies have pretty much put everybody forward. Leeds have pretty much put everybody back behind the ball. Got in behind here with Brayson, deflected away off Montero, and it will be another corner. Leeds are trying to stay switched on. There's the talkers of the team trying to give the instructions out. Moore gets underneath it. Flick on by Snowden. Turner Cook's pass to Diallo. I mean, it was a fancy enough looking one, but put Newcastle backwards and then a ball in. That Leeds are more than happy with a ball out wide and a ball in like that. And there is the instruction from Moore. Just everybody to calm down a little bit. 4 minutes left. Extra centre-back has helped Moore come away with it then. He's caught late. Just what Leeds need. Keane Coleman is probably going to be carded for that. Coleman suggesting he didn't hear the whistle. And again, no rush for Leeds United. So 2 more games left. Everton Monday, week after for West Brom. As Ben said, in terms of academy football, all eyes on the 10th of May for the FA Youth Cup campaign to come to a conclusion, hopefully with the trophy in the hands of Rob Etherington's players. The ball's gone out for a Leeds throw. Joe Richards is winning. A couple of minutes left, Ben. We're nearly there. You said to Scott Gardner Monday, in the harrowing wind at Thorpe Arch, she'll get 2 clean sheets, she'll score 5 goals. He'd have asked where to sign. Snowden, looking for his 3rd goal in 2 games. The part of White tried to drill it towards goal. Corner comes in, and this is where Newcastle will start to think the game is up. But a great advert in the last few weeks, 18's success. We've had maybe 7 or 8 18s players in nearly every 21 squad, clean sheets. It's a message to the scholars for the future. If you play well for the 18s, you will get a chance. And with a couple of minutes left, we are toasting a good week. We hope our first team, Monday, we start a new week with an even more positive result.
No, of course, and just see the corner get played out here.
And Chadwick, Newcastle will clear. Montero is on his way. I think he'll be told to keep it, and he will. Out for a throw.
You're saying about a good week for the under-21s, Monday and Friday. Well, I'm sure the first team would definitely take these 2 results, Monday and Friday next week. Over to you guys. No pressure. Should we just send Scotty Garner in for a little team talk just before start of the week?
Yeah, a couple of minutes left. Newcastle fans have started to peter out as well. They think the game is done. And Newcastle player getting in the way. Into Coleman. Really calm from Coleman. Leeds may be looking for a third, but it's now Newcastle's turn to camp in their own box. Now a chance for them to break. Leeds with numbers back. More sweeper. And here's Montero. Good turn from Richards. Could see the black and white stripes coming at him, so he plays for safety. Lapata White likewise. And we have 30 seconds left of proceedings at the Blue Flames ground, the Northumberland FA. And Leeds are leaving with 3 points. There's an offside flag. That's one of the goals. Look at Thomas's powerful penalty. And the second, equally as effective, a bit more venom behind this. Keeper at full stretch, not able to get to it. And there is Thomas sliding in. The effort he's produced tonight up front. He's had to work so hard. Got the brace, which have meant that Leeds United will leave with 3 points. They'll come above the Magpies. And there is the full-time whistle. A very professional job. Don't think Danny van der Heuvel had to make more than 1 save. He palmed one out. Might have a very good night at the office, Ben.
That certainly is. Good night at the office. Great week, as you touched upon. Another clean sheet tonight. Defensively superb. Getting the 2 goals from Luca Thomas. It's been a great team performance to get over the line tonight. The boys should be really proud of the efforts.
Yeah, good week all round for the 21s. Wins on Monday, 3-0 against Derby, 2-0 against Newcastle. Awards for the academy players as well with the club and in the EFL. And we look forward to the final 2 games of the season with the 21s and hopefully climbing that table once again. So full-time score as Newcastle beaten by 2-0. Have a fantastic weekend.